I love summer, not just because we have warmer weather and I can wear shorts or go barefoot, but the one thing that happens that's really, really important in summertime is this, the tomato. There is nothing like a summer ripe tomato to just bite into and create the wonderfulness of summer on a plate. I am actually going to make Ina Garten's tomato sandwich. So we're going to try to recreate this tomato sandwich. It just got listed as one of the top 5 chef tomato sandwiches by Food Network. So let's make it. See how good it really is. As you can probably imagine, it's not very, very complicated to make a tomato sandwich. Obviously, we're going to have some really nice vine-ripened heirloom tomatoes. We're also going to have a very nice artisan loaf of bread. We want it to be kind of soft because tomatoes themselves are soft. The first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and slice my tomatoes. For this, you're going to want a really sharp knife, or if you don't have a really sharp knife, a serrated or bread knife will do too. One of my favorite knives to work with is this nice small paring knife from Shun. It's super sharp. It's a very different blade than most other kitchen knives that you're probably used to. But not everyone can afford this, so I'm going to go ahead and slice my tomatoes today with a small serrated knife. Now, I really like working with a combination of tomatoes, heirloom tomatoes. The nice thing is there's so many different profiles of tomatoes and flavor. Like, for example, a yellow tomato is generally a lot sweeter than, say, a red tomato. It doesn't have the acid, but I also love the visuals. So we're going to work with a couple of different tomatoes. I'll just take a couple of slices of each. And I'm going to go ahead and just take this end off. You know, nothing wrong with a good thick slice, right? We'll take 2 of those. And how about this dark, this could be a Cherokee. I don't know what it is, but it looks great. Oh, look at the color in there. Isn't that just beautiful? Take a couple of those. And if we end up with too much tomato, oh well, they'll not go to waste. And then finally, I think I'm going to take a couple of slices from this red one. I'm going to see what it looks like on the inside. Oh, look at that. That's practically striped. All right, let's give us a couple of hits of that one too. Okay, there's our tomato. I'm going to put these aside on a plate while we get ready to assemble our sandwich. And I got a surprise for you, and we're going to work on that next. So the next step here is I'm going to make us a basil and garlic infused mayonnaise. And you know, basil is the natural partner to tomato. And again, summer basil, you know, you can buy basil in the grocery store, but it's nothing like what you can get when you grow it at home. Now, you saw the basil plants I was growing earlier. I've actually taken a mix of them, but my total favorite right now is definitely this. Actually, there's a pesto basil, which is interesting because it's variegated, but then there's this one called a columnar basil, which is a variety of Greek basil, and it just, oh, it has such an intense flavor. So we're going to go ahead and use that. The other thing we're going to do is we're going to need a garlic clove. Now, Ina makes her mayonnaise completely from scratch. And you know what? You can do that, and we will do that at some point. It's not that hard. It's really, with our tools we have, you know, whether you have a food processor or a stick blender, it's super easy. But I think for the sake of just getting our sandwich going, and not everyone has the time to make mayonnaise from scratch, we're just going to go ahead and I'll show you a cheat. So I'm just going to go ahead and prep my garlic, quickly peel it, smacking it. We're just going to, since we're throwing this into a food processor shortly, I don't have to worry too much about finely mincing this. I'm also going to cut up our basil a little bit. Now you can just run a knife through it and cut it up, but I like organizing the leaves and then making just a little chiffonade out of it. And all that means is you're cutting it very finely into the little ribbons. Again, we're about to use a food processor, so this isn't as critical, but just showing you another technique. Oh, I can smell it already. And I'll probably cross-cut it just, you know, because I can. So while we certainly could make our own mayonnaise, and there's nothing wrong with that, it's not hard and doesn't take very long. Right now, I want to actually do a very quick version of it, and there's nothing wrong with using a high-quality, already pre-made mayonnaise that takes a little bit of work out of it. So I happen to really like Best Foods, so we're going to use that. We're going to start with a cup of our mayonnaise, and this is going to be more than we need for our sandwich. But you know what? Plenty no good, right? Especially when I put it on the board. Used to hate mayonnaise, don't anymore. This is essentially a quick version of aioli. Okay, next step's gonna be kind of fun. So I have this itty bitty little Cuisinart food processor. I originally got it when my kids were little so that I could make baby food for them. But if you're only making small quantities, it's really awesome to have on hand. So I'm gonna put my basil and my garlic in there. We're gonna just scrape that in there, flying all over the place. And put our mayonnaise in there. Like I said, this is gonna be more than we need for our sandwich. But then you have some more on hand for the next time you wanna make a sandwich. Infused mayonnaises are just such a great thing to have on hand. Really takes the sandwich from plain to wonderful. Okay, this next step I'm afraid is gonna be a little bit noisy, but I'm just gonna go ahead and blend this. It's pretty well blended, even though there's a couple of bits in there, but there's nothing wrong with that. See how it tastes. I definitely taste the basil. I definitely taste the garlic. Well, the next step is our bread. Ina actually talks about toasting one side of it, and the interesting thing is she talks about toasting the inside so that you still have that ability on the soft side to bite in, but you still have a little bit of crunch. So I thought that was kind of interesting. I haven't done that before, but you know, you can certainly put it in the toaster on bagel setting because it only toasts one side, but I'm going to do something a little different. I'm actually going to start with our mayo and wait till you see what it does for us. So remember, this is the inside of the sandwich. And this is not the only place that we're going to use mayo, so don't be scared. Doesn't need much, just a little. Now I have a cast iron pan that I've been heating for a little bit, and this is how I plan to toast my bread. I'm going to just put it right there in the pan, just like that, and give it a minute. Let it toast. Why don't we take a peek and see how our bread is doing and see if it's ready. We don't want to overscorch it. No, not quite, but it's getting a little brown. Okay. Okay, I think I'm liking what I see. So here's how our toast ends up. A little bit brown, but not too harsh. Right, it's time. Let's assemble our sandwich. So remember, I toasted the inside of the bread, not the outside. We're going to start by smearing a little bit more of our infused mayonnaise. It's okay to use more than a little, unless you don't like mayonnaise, you know, but heck, I happen to. So we're going to do it on both sides. We want it nice and creamy as a contrast to the crisp of the bread and also the tomato. So now I'm going to take my tomatoes. Remember, we have these beautiful heirloom tomatoes that we're going to be using, and I'm going to think about which colors I want to use where, because I just love these combinations. So let's what are we going to do here? Let's take another yellow one, and I think I need to cut one of these a little bit in half. Oh, thick slices of tomato, nothing wrong with that. And I'm just going to add a little bit more because I can. Let's see. This one's pretty thick, but why not? Okay. And I also like to add a little bit of salt and pepper on top just to give it a little extra flavor. So another good thing about only toasting the inside is, you know how frequently you'll cut a sandwich and it'll just flop all over the place? Well, because I've got a soft sandwich here, soft bread, the serrated knife is going to bite into it a little bit better. Like so. Ta-da-da-da! Look at that. A thing of beauty. Right. Well, here's the moment of truth. I have a feeling it's going to be messy, so I went ahead and got myself a napkin. See how this thing tastes. Summer tomatoes. This is why we do this. Oh my God. Excellent sandwich, and I really like the little toasted part of the inside. So, I give it an A+. Good job, Ina Garten. Love this one. Hope you all make this. If you do, why don't you go ahead and post it or send me a photo and let me know how you like it. I'm gonna have another bite.